This episode has been brought to you by CompleteNutra.com, whole family nutrition.
Nobody's breathing deeply enough, often enough. That's a fact. A couple little things that have happened in the last couple of years. I've noticed on social media, there's a lot more attention to something called the vagus nerve, VAGUS. The vagus nerve runs from the base of our, from the bottom of our, from the top of our spine rather, all the way down throughout and kind of incorporates around the lungs and all the digestive organs. So this is a whopping big, it's actually the biggest nerve in the body. And the reason I'm bringing this up is science has determined the most effective way to reset and start to restore that vagus nerve is through taking long, slow exhales. So science says it doesn't really matter whether it's a big breath in or a small breath in, but the longer the exhale, the more the vagus nerve just relaxes.
Wow.
And I think that's because the vagus nerve is very tied into the fight or flight response. So if we can take charge of our nervous system that directly, and that's just recent research, as people open up and start to really look at the science behind breath work, I mean, people should really Google Wim Hof and look at the things he's done with his body simply by manipulating his breath and the levels of oxygen in his body.
And the thing about him is people think about him as breath work, but they also think about him as the cold exposure guy. But what he says is cold is the teacher for him in order to breathe. Because, I mean, if you try to get into a cold shower or a cold ice bath, you have to breathe through it. It's like, so that, and I've done it.
I've done it. And so the good news is, and people go, well, why would you do it? And you go, I do it for the end result. The end result is after about 10 minutes, you're just like, I'm in bliss. I'm in ecstasy. I don't need to get out. And my mates were all there. And they're like, no, you're actually getting out now.
You're like, I'm good.
Because we don't want you to melt the ice for the next guy. But no, seriously, we did that. So the body's really the teacher. And the other thing that the early breath work taught me is you can simply change your ability to manage discomfort internally by your breath. That's a huge one when you think about the times that we're in right now, because we're recording this during the COVID-19 pandemic where social distancing has become the new norm, right? And people are like really on edge, and some people are still really afraid. Other people are like, I'm not wearing a mask, I'm just immortal or whatever. It doesn't really matter. But the reality is we need ways of being more connected. That's the reality that we're in. So the vagus nerve, very, very important, simply by taking a medium breath in and maybe breathing out to an 8 count. And if you can't get out to 8, exhale out to 8, that means you need to practice this more and get up to that. People that have insomnia, people that have asthma, people that have autoimmune disorders, people that have high stress levels, they need to actually take their breathing by their hands. Like they can't just leave that up to chance and expect to have a robust, thriving life. They just can't. So my bottom line about breathing, Dave, is as we breathe, so we live.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And breathing does, like we've been talking about food and stuff, breathing connects us to our bodies, which I was feeling that a lot when I was camping because I realized how disconnected from my body I was. In fact, we did a lot of barefoot and there was these boulders that it was one of our friends, a rock climber. And so we were climbing up on these rocks and he was teaching us some stuff and I was laying out on a rock like a lizard. I mean, it was, and I was barefoot, which it was interesting because I was really thinking about what you have been talking about, what I've been learning from you about reconnecting with my body, and reconnecting with my breath and reconnecting with my food. And I didn't realize, because I'm pretty connected overall, but from where I've been in the past. And I think connectedness happens because of increased awareness as well. And because we're asking for it and we're looking for it and we're seeking it. And then we get to ask ourselves, what are we really capable of? I mean, literally, we are capable of we're human beings with a human mind and a body. It's like I had this vision of a whole bunch of fighter jets, like putting in, driving up to Chevron and asking like, hey, what's the cheapest fuel I can get here? And it's like, and then they're like, wait, do you realize you're in a fighter jet? They're like, yeah, don't worry about it. I just want the cheapest, but it's like,
I just want to minimize it.
So let's actually put some nice expensive fuel. But the cool part about breathing is it's free fuel, but it's probably the best. I mean, I don't know about breatharians, but it's just as important, I think, as food or water or the foundational elements of even like love. I mean, breath is there.
It's actually, when you think about the science of how does a body survive without a breath, and how does a body go without food, and how does a body go without water, the thing that's the shortest is going without your breath. You can go a long time without food, long time without food.
You're right.
And you can go a ways without water, sometimes shockingly longer than the doctors will say. Mm-hmm. But you really can't go very long without breath. Now, again, if you're a Wim Hof and you've been training your body and developing your body, you definitely can. And people would say, well, why would you want to do that? It's because we want to explore the vast frontiers of consciousness. Yeah. It's like after a certain level of breathing and brain training and kind of learning that I can be the architect and I can design and manifest my life, after a while, it's like, and what else? Like you said, what else is this body capable of?
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us for the Healthy and Family Show. Visit our website at healthyandfamily.com. That's healthyandfamily.com to see what all the other doctors, experts, and real moms have to say about keeping your whole family healthy. This episode has been brought to you by CompleteNutra.com, whole family nutrition, and aired on the Goldstone Network. People, Planet, Future.